Good afternoon. We'll call the meeting to order. First, I'd like to start with the land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that the ground on which we live is the traditional territory of Caldwell First Nation, of the Three Fires Confederacy, and the original people of Point Pelee and Pelee Island and its surrounding lands and waters, and that of the Huron, Wendat, and Wyandot peoples. We recognize and respect the First Nations who are stewards of the land and waters of Turtle Island and who have embraced the stewardship since time immemorial. We would also like to acknowledge the contributions of other nearby First Nation communities and all original people across Turtle Island. Is there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? I can't see the screen. Okay. Is there anyone on the YouTube that has any conflicts of interest? Okay, seeing none. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the adoption of minutes, please? Okay. Mr. Burns and Cynthia, thank you. All right, so we will move on to item D. Items for consideration. Number 1, Skate Trail Accessibility Advisory Committee presentation from Mr. Colin McDonald from JP Thompson, appearing before the committee to present the Skate Trail and Water Feature Project at LaSalle Landing, joined by Mr. Mara.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Peter Mara. I'm the Deputy CAO for the town of LaSalle. We're here today before the committee to present to you the conceptual design or the concept of what is included within the skate trail water feature that is proposed to be built down on the LaSalle Landing waterfront redevelopment project. So this project has been in design for a number of years. We've recently closed tenders on this project a couple weeks ago. Next week, Tuesday, we'll be in front of council at the February 27th council meeting to award the contract. I'm joined here at the table with Colin McDonald from JP Thompson Architects. They are the firm that's been assisting the town with this project with respect to the design and tendering and contract administrations for this project. As I mentioned, we're looking at awarding the tender. We're looking at awarding the tender for next week, Tuesday, with council. The anticipated construction sequencing is all indications at this point is a December 2024 completion date, so that the ice rink and the skating trail will be available for the winter of 24-25. So that's what we're aiming for, and what I'm going to do now is pass the microphone over to Colin, and Colin will run us through a presentation with respect to some of the features that were designed in as part of this project. So maybe we can get IT to share the screen, and we can get the information presented.
Thank you very much. As Mr. Mara noted, my name is Colin McDonald. I'm with JP Thompson Architects. I'm here to present the accessibility design presentation for the LaSalle Landing Skate Trail and Water Feature. So we do have a slideshow. Effectively, it's a series of images which help to depict many of the accessibility features of this large sort of urban park area of the waterfront. And I'll just move to the first slide here. You can see this is sort of an overall project approach. So let's see if I can use, yeah, I've got a mouse here. I'm assuming that everyone can see that. So down at the bottom here, we have sort of a slide title, which will help you understand what is happening. Just to orient the committee to the design. So this is Front Road here. You can see in the dark band, that's Front Road with its sidewalk. We have the existing TD Bank on the south side. We have a parking lot which is part of the project and is to be expanded and renovated. On the far end of this park is the existing event center. It has a future plaza, event plaza, which is up by the boat slip, and then obviously the front and the north side, as you know, is parking currently. So this is the actual skate trail. So you can see here this sort of medium gray band. That's the skate trail, which is an accessible trail, fully accessible trail. It's a walking path in the summer, and it is a skate trail in the winter. And within that sort of zone is also the water feature. So those are the two sort of primary components of this particular project. And if we look at a more detailed view of this, so we're sort of zooming in on this area of the property. Obviously, the slide isn't able to capture it all because it's quite large, but you can see it's sort of cropped a bit at the top. But you can see the main area here is the water feature. So the water feature will have shade sails. There is a plaza here, and that plaza has a jumbo LaSalle sign, which is an illuminated sign and forms part of a larger plaza. We do have the skate trail here, as I mentioned before, multi-purpose sort of path. So in the summer, in the nice weather, can be used for walking, leisurely walking, maybe even some rollerblading. And obviously in the winter would be used for the skate trail itself. So it has a number of sort of cross loops which foster smaller circular movements within the skate trail, but overall represents approximately a 900 lineal foot skate trail. There is a memorial garden that's tucked in one of the corners of that. Its perimeter is actually sort of enveloped with continuous accessible walking paths. So you have both the skate trail, which, for instance, in the winter when it's the ice is made and used as a skate trail, we still have a full walking accessible path that wraps around it. So there's sort of a bit of a landscape buffer that separates it. This box here you see is or this shape here is a ice plant building. So that houses not only the Zamboni and some miscellaneous operational spaces, but it also has a refrigeration space. And then we'll get to this later in the presentation, but there is a red dot here. So we do have some washrooms for the public on that side of the building, which would be effectively the west side. Obviously, the Detroit River is to the top. And we have two on-off zones. So we have an on-off zone that leads, that sort of takes people from the north parking lot, north of the event center, and allows people to sit at a bench and get on and off the ice. And a similar one here, which we envision as a much more substantial version of the same. Just a quick note that we have.
Is anyone talking right now, or is it not started?
I think that participant has been.
I can't hear anything, Mike.
Yeah, I can't hear anything either. I hear us, I mean, but if someone from the...
Okay, so I can only hear us. I thought that I was listening to somebody actually doing the presenting, but no, I can't hear either.
Hello, I think IT is looking into it. Can you just give us a moment? Sorry for the disruption. You can continue on.
Would you like me to start again, or how? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so hopefully everyone can hear me. We're just looking at the detailed sort of plan of the ice that's the skate trail and the water feature. So again, as I mentioned, water feature in this location, the skate trail sort of wrapping around. Again, as I mentioned, was about a 900 lineal foot skate trail. And when the ice is made in the winter, there's a perimeter accessible trail as well, which is sort of more like a widened sidewalk that flanks that. So there's always an ability to move around this special feature, the ice rink. As I mentioned, we have washrooms in this ice plant building. So the ice plant building houses, sort of the operational aspect needed for the ice, but also the refrigeration and some.
LaSalle that's trying to talk, that profile, but it's.
For those of you that are on Zoom, can you hear me speaking? Okay. So I don't believe anybody on Zoom can hear us, and we can't see you on the screen, so I don't know if Greg can fix the screen that we can see everyone. Maybe they can give us a thumbs up if they can hear, or...
So everybody, this is Linda Jean, Deputy Clerk, for all those on YouTube and can hear us. Right now, we do not have quorum. We're waiting for our members of the committee to get back online and see if they can hear the presentation by Mr. McDonald. If not, then we do not have quorum, so we will keep everybody posted. Thank you.
Those of you that are on YouTube, can you hear me? Or, sorry, on Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, great. That's Jason, I believe, yep. Okay. So I'm just looking to see if Joanna and Michael are on the call as well? And if you are, if you can turn on your cameras? Are you on the call? If you can just say yes, that would be great.
I can hear now.
Okay, so that's Joanna. Okay, great.
Jason can hear through the computer now too.
Okay, great, thank you. So we will continue, and I apologize, Mr. McDonald, for the delay.
Thank you. No, yeah, no problem at all. I'm assuming that the members online are have maybe stared at this slide long enough that they've got it memorized. So I think I'll just really whip through it quickly because there are probably a few points that I think it's that. Yeah.
We're getting feedback here, so we're gonna have to try to feedback.
Yeah, so just quickly, so this is the skate trail itself. There's a large on-off zone here. That skate trail winds around. It's approximately 900 lineal feet of ice. It does have some through paths in a couple of spots, which help users who don't want to go the entire perimeter just loop around. This is flanked by a fully accessible sidewalk as well. So in the winter, when this is ice, we also have a sidewalk that allows users to get all the way around the perimeter without having to cross the ice. This area here is for the Zamboni on-off zone. This is the ice plant building. So in that building, we have some operational spaces. We have the refrigeration equipment, and we also have a series of public washrooms. And I've just highlighted this red circle, which we'll get to in a bit. So effectively, we have, plaza, we have an on-off zone. This would be rubber tiles for skate blade protection during the winter use. And essentially, we have all of these spaces. You can see the perimeter path that touches down here on the west side, and then it continues on the east side. The water feature is, in the plaza, this is all on one level, so there are no steps at all. It's a seamless surface, as well as in the summer months, this would also be a seamless area. So I'll just jump ahead to the next slide, which will be helpful just to look at the rest of it, just sort of perspectively. There it goes. Thanks. So here's a sort of an overall, sort of aerial or bird's eye view. So this is looking northwest. You can see the water feature in the foreground, and even before that, on the bottom left corner, is the large LaSalle sign, which will form part of a plaza. The hope is that there will be a future pavilion in this area. Effectively, you see, the seamless surface. So you have the perimeter path here. You have the skate trail and the active summer trail wrapping all around here. It's a 16-foot wide trail. You see the event center in the distance. This is the ice plant building. So the door there for the Zamboni. And the front, just for orientation, the front road sidewalk runs up the east side. So you see in the distance here, you'll see the perimeter sidewalk connects with the existing municipal right-of-way sidewalk. So there is a nice connection to the Huron Street intersection and access into this entire park. So we'll go to the next slide. There's kind of the same image, but it's, I've just lost the text so you can see that a bit clearer. Go to the next slide. So this is kind of down at ground level. You can see the promenade, which is here, the plaza. So we have level surfaces at all paving transitions, so there's no steps. There's nothing there that really is an issue. We have, this is the large sign, which is an 8-foot tall sign that's illuminated. And then this is sort of an introduction of one of the benches. So the benches include a sitting area and a barrier-free parking space. There's sort of a blow-up of that, so the idea is that users can use that bench, and it will also have some power for ease of use and technology charging, etc. This is a shot of the water feature, so you can see the permeable pavers here, which you may know were used at the event center. They go seamlessly into a concrete slab here, which is part of the large water feature. So again, a seamless surface. There's no surface really that exceeds about 2%, so that's our maximum slope. We do have some sloping to drains for the water here, and that's about it. This is we'll call it the west tip of the skate trail. So this gives you a sense of how you can see the 16-foot path of the skate trail and or walking path in the summer, and then the perimeter loop that allows you to be allows accessible access around the skate trail when ice is formed. And then here's that on-off point. So when you're coming off of the parking lot from north of the event center, you have a spot to touch down, put some skates on, rubber surface, and then get onto the ice. One more summer shot, the last summer shot here. So we do have just a shot of the skate trail itself. So that's sort of the 16-foot wide trail. We have a buffer, a landscape buffer, and then the sidewalk beside it. And in those islands, there are 3 islands. We have some bermed areas and non-bermed areas. So we just have some undulation of the earth, and the idea is that we use some of the soil that's already on the site for that purpose. This is a shot of sort of at night with the winter shot at night. So the idea is that we'll have fully accessible plazas and walk areas. Here you can see the rubber matting, which will kind of encapsulate all of those benches. We'll have full access to hopefully some nice fire pits that really allow users to, maybe the ones who are coming on and off the rink, or sometime off the rink and sometime on the rink, or just chaperones and parents and other groups using the larger plaza. And then making use, of course, of the water feature area during the winter. Here you can see the entire skate area, so that sort of wraps around there, and the perimeter path that I was referring to. And there's a shot of, that's the on-off zone, so we have some rubber matting, of course, the benches, and then we have some rails which are there primarily just for added support for users to get on and off the rink. Obviously the rink, as it gets built up, it may be 3 or 4 inches in thickness. And so the idea is that we would use these as assistive rails that help users get on and off of all abilities. This ramp is another sort of custom ramp that would be used to bridge that gap from the existing surface. So in the summer, the surface is completely level. But as the ice is built up, we've got a bit of a ramp, so we will be using sort of a customized ramp that takes us to that spot, and which is temporary and portable, so it can be used and deployed as needed. And that's sort of a shot of it at night, so you get a kind of sense of the width and the islands kind of creating interest and really sort of experiential skate experience. And the last slide we have is the washroom, is the ice plant building itself. So we just wanted to highlight that this building is fully accessible from the perimeter sidewalk. So from either the on-off zone, just to the west of it, or from the Zamboni driveway entrance, users can access. There are 4 washrooms here, and there's one that is a barrier-free washroom. So that washroom is equipped with an automatic operator, fully accessible, and is, you know, obviously a bit more generous. It's approximately 9'4" by 6'8". And then we have, it is supported by a series of other, you know, generous washrooms. So again, you know, even in the winter months, you've got a bit more bulky clothing on. Everything's a bit more generous just to accommodate users in those spaces. So very easy to get to, and fully accessible. So that's the end of the presentation. Certainly, I can try to answer any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. I will now ask the committee if they have any questions for Mr. McDonald. Okay, Mr. Burns?
Thank you, Chair. I have 2 questions. I see that the outside sidewalk is only 6 feet wide. You and I walk down there. My wife and I walk down there. One of us is in the bushes. It should be at least 8 feet wide, in my estimation, particularly if someone's walking with a wheelchair as well. They're going to take, you know, I don't know why we don't have standards for sidewalks, but the bigger person you are, the less room there is. If you're a mother walking with 2 children, someone's going to be in the snowbank maybe. And then the other concern I have is on the main, you have on and off ramps, but there's nothing across this thing as a crossway where the ice plant is or in that graphic circle. So you've got to go all the way around from one end to the other. There's no crossway through the, and I don't know how you'd put it in through a rink, but maybe you could explain what your thought process was there. Thank you.
I'll start, and maybe Colin can pick up where some of the questions. The town standard sidewalk width is 5 feet, Councilor Burns. So any sidewalk built on municipal right-of-way is 5 feet wide. Given the essence of what we have here, the introduction of the perimeter 6-foot wide sidewalk was something that came about after, because what we realized is, exactly to your point, is when the ice is there, it's hard to go from one side to the other unless you're wearing skates. So we introduced this perimeter sidewalk. There needs to be a balance between how much concrete and how much asphalt, how much hard surfaces we are putting out here versus landscaping and things of that nature. So certainly your concern relative to being able to pass each other, it's going to be a bit of effort to go through that. Again, we're a foot wider than what we would typically put on a municipal right-of-way, but certainly if council wishes, we can review and make that wider. There is limitations and there's cost implications, but certainly at this point what we have, and you'll see it next week Tuesday, and it's part of the agenda that's online right now, that it is within budget. We're right on the budget, so the more changes and things of that nature, what we will bring forward, put a bit pressure on those types of resources. So, you know, again, it's very difficult for us to provide a walkway across it without having to walk all the way around when the ice is in. But certainly in the summertime, you can move any which way you want through this plaza under any surfaces. It's important to note that because everything's level in the summertime, when we build the ice will start to build up. So where that transition from that perimeter walkway up onto the ice will vary from 4 to 6 inches over that period. So as you start to build ice, that will continue to build up. Then as the weather changes and it starts to melt, it will start to go down. So that's going to fluctuate throughout the season. And so you'll always have a step up onto the ice, and that's a function of how these ice trails function throughout the area. So hopefully that has provided a bit of context of answering your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Is there any other questions? If you have a question on Zoom, can you just speak, because I can't really see.
I had a follow-up question to that. So if there's going to be varying levels of the ice depth, which would mean there's a step up, the entrance points, can they be built at varying degrees of height so that regardless of how high that ice goes, that there is a way on the ice for everyone?
Thank you for the question. So again, this is Peter Mara providing the answer. So that was the purpose of showing that introduction to that ramp. So we're going to have multiple versions of ramps available and change them out throughout the time when that deviation happens. It won't be provided along the entire on and off areas. They'll be provided at a few significant locations in between those on and offs. To provide that opportunity for that ability to get on and off the ice as a smooth transition. And it's really meant when you're stepping onto the ice, for those who have those abilities to step onto the ice, you're using those handrails to support yourself when you make that transition.
Okay, are there any other questions?
I just have one quick question. Just on the ramps we just talked about to make it a seamless transition when the ice level's higher, is it possible to have it made out of like a fake ice, so that way if someone's using a sledge, it's a lot easier to slide them onto the ice? I know it's a struggle I have at the Volmer in trying to get my son from onto the ice, because it's all rubber. It's not a seamless transition there, right?
Correct. Yeah, we can certainly review making those ramps of artificial glice type surfaces. I guess the question would be is how far and how big of an area do we need to make that artificial surface? Do we need to make it large enough to again, position the sled so that someone can be properly placed into the sled and pushed onto the ice? I'm looking for a bit of guidance of what kind of area do you need for that type of scenario where the sleds are used in helping that transition happen.
I mean, I'd be more than happy to bring one by for you guys to take some measurements and see, but I would say no more than 3 feet wide would be more than adequate.
Thank you. We'll take a look to see how best to transition something of that nature into this project.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I just had a question surrounding storage of people's things. If you've got people ice skating, they're going to have bags, they're going to have shoes and things they're going to want to store places that would potentially become a tripping hazard, as well as any of those winter fire features, other features that you have. Is there anything that needs to be changed in the winter that would add, I don't know, cables, wires, anything that would become tripping hazards?
Thank you for the question. At this point, we don't envision any tripping hazards. Those fire pits are, if they do, again, they are shown schematically. Those will probably be standalone, sort of like fire pits that you have seen around town used through various special events here. So those will be like fire tables per se, and they're self-contained, so there's no wires or anything that runs to them. So as you approach those, you can just pull up around the fire table itself. With respect to storage of items, again, we don't have any specific area available for storage of items at this point. There was originally, as Mr. McDonald had mentioned, a proposed pavilion to be built, but at this point, that does not fit within budget. When eventually that pavilion gets built, that will provide an indoor feature element for putting on skates, storing those types of personal belongings, some additional washrooms and things of that nature. But at this point, it doesn't fit within budget, so that's a future phase that will end up happening. And there's going to be a bit of requirements on people who use this facility to hopefully not leave stuff just lying around everywhere, and that will have to be a responsibility of the town to kind of patrol that.
Okay, thank you. If there's no other questions, then there's a recommendation that the report of the Deputy CAO dated February 15, 2024, AD-2024-06, regarding the presentation of the skate trail and water feature project to the Accessibility Advisory Committee be received. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Cynthia? I can't see. Is that Jason raising his hand? Okay, and Jason. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the presentation, Mr. McDonald and Mr. Mara.
Thank you.
Okay, we are moving on to D2, of the verbal update regarding the 2024 Accessibility Advisory Committee Work Plan.
Thank you, and good afternoon, committee members. I just wanted to give you all a breakdown of what to expect at our upcoming Accessibility Advisory Committee meetings. Starting with our special meeting in March, which will focus on a presentation from New World Park Solutions on accessible playgrounds. In May, we will have a presentation from the Deputy Fire Chief, and Town Engineer regarding the design of the new fire station. In September, we will have guest speaker Julie Sawchuk, who is an international speaker, best-selling author, and founder of Sawchuk Accessible Solutions. She will be doing a Q&A session focused on why accessibility matters and outline all the ways businesses can make a difference with no to low cost solutions. And November, we will be having a wrap-up meeting on the entire year. So I just wanted to get any input, if you guys, would like to have anything else discussed at our meetings, or if you have any questions, I'll be here to answer them.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, there is a recommendation that the verbal report of the council coordinator regarding the 2024 Accessibility Advisory Committee Work Plan be received. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please.
So moved.
Mr. Burns and Michael. Okay, thank you. D3, the 2023 Strawberry Festival post-event update. If I can, Owen, okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this report was intended to come to the committee a little while ago, but due to some of the cancellations, it's been sort of brought forward to this meeting. And I know we're getting pretty close to the next iteration of the Strawberry Festival. So I'll provide a really quick summary of the report. Owen Stitchhaller is here, who is our Supervisor of Recreation, and he and his team operate the Strawberry Festival along with all of the other events that the town operates or facilitates, and he's certainly here to answer any questions you might have. Previous to the 2023 Strawberry Festival, we had received some feedback after the 2022 festival with some suggestions from the committee, and this report is just a summary of how the 2023 festival went and sort of what we're looking forward to in 2024. One of the main focuses that came from the committee prior to the 2023 festival was trying to eliminate tripping hazards and trying to make it easy to move around the festival. Owen worked with his team and was able to purchase some cable covers that would make it easier. Previously, we had large black mats that sort of covered over the cables, and they were slippery and harder to maneuver around or over. Those cable covers were a definite benefit in 2023, and I would also say Owen worked hard with his group to figure out how we could even lessen the amount of times where cords were running across public pathways, and they were able to do that by reconfiguring some of the areas, and I think overall we received less feedback with regards to tripping hazards or the inability for people to move through the area easily, so we're happy with that advantage. In total, we had just nearly 32,000 people come to the festival over the 4 days. We do have a couple timeframes where we welcome different groups. With the sensory-friendly hour on Sunday, we had just over 1,300 visitors come at that time. We do have community living who is welcomed before the festival opens on Friday. Not a large number of users, and hopefully we can increase that this year. But both those will continue on this year at the 2024 festival. Another addition in 2023 was a rest area or a tent that was established. This was the first year that we had that. The idea behind the tent was to provide users with an area to rest, and it might be a parent with a child and they need a calm, quiet place to relax. It might be a senior who wanted to take a break out of the hot sun and get some rest. Young mothers and fathers, we've seen using the space to, change a little one and take a small break. So that new tent area was utilized pretty well, and we got some feedback that was positive, and we intend on having that as a recurring space at the event, again, to provide a respite area, so someplace for people to rest and make their experience better, so that they don't have to maybe leave the festival, that they can have a quiet area, they can take some rest, and then get back out and enjoy the festival. The last thing I would add is we're also been working with our partners. We have Bike Windsor Essex that does the bike valet and Transit Windsor. Between both those services, we had nearly 1,000 riders of transit or people checking bikes as well. And we're going to continue to promote those things. The more people we can promote either being carpooled or dropped off or using public transportation or active transportation, it frees up more available parking spaces for everyone else to use. We also made a focus on trying to make the lines more accessible and trying to look for any users that had accessibility issues and pointing them to our advanced line and getting them into the festival faster so they didn't have to wait in any long lines, and I think that also went very well. So overall, that's some feedback from the 2023 festival. We intend on sort of repeating that in 2024. I have Owen with me. Maybe, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Thank you, Scott. The only thing I would add is that at this time we are looking at adding a second bike valet station to have one on both entrances of the festival. However, that's subject to the resources available from Bike Windsor Essex. So we're looking into that option to have options at both ends rather than just the one. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you for the update. Is there any questions from the committee? Okay.
Just a comment more than anything. I'm really happy you guys took all of the recommendations that we put in the year prior, and I did talk to a few of the different houses from Community Living Essex County, and especially the one that actually had an issue the year before, and they said it was incredible. So the changes that you put in there were definitely noticed, and I received some emails from several community living managers saying that they reported that it was a lot easier to navigate this time. So awesome.
Great, thank you for the positive feedback. Is there any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none. There's a recommendation that the report of the Manager of Culture and Recreation dated August 15, 2023, CR-2023-29, regarding the 2023 Strawberry Festival post-event update be received. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Okay, Cynthia and Michael. Okay, great, thank you. We will move on to D4, 2023 Annual Year-End Accessibility Status Report.
Thank you. It's a legislative requirement that we create and prepare a year-end accessibility report. The one before you is for the year 2023, obviously. This entails what we've accomplished in 2023. I'm a year off in 2023. And what we try to do when we create our plan, like Rosa just went over our plan for this year, and what we try to do is incorporate everything that we are planning to coincide with what we've created for the 5-year multi-year accessibility plan. So with that, we work on the 5-year plan, and we create some momentum for the year. This report talks about what we've accomplished in 2023. And first of all, with the Accessibility Committee, we did quite a few things I found for last year. We're trying to make the committee more proactive, and it seemed like in 2023 we did a great job as a team. So in February we did some onboarding and orientation. We had a new committee in 2023. April, you toured the waterfront. May, our new accessibility flag raising. August, we had David Lepofsky as a speaker. October, we did the accessibility workshop in Essex. So it was a lot of training and development for that year. We're continuing with our customer service standards. All employees, both full-time and part-time, complete accessibility training every year. New employees are onboarded with accessibility training, and that's also a requirement under the legislation, so we're always on top of that. We have the accessibility feedback form on our town's website. We don't get a lot of response with that. Why, I don't know. Hopefully we're doing everything well, and maybe that's why, but we do have that open communication with our residents. One thing that we really focused on in 2023 was information and communication, and with a large focus on our website. The legislation states that all public sectors are required to have an accessible website, and what that means, it's pretty vague what the legislation, what that means. So we try our best to make sure that it's accessible for all those who face barriers. And it's not just the public-facing documents that we work on. Obviously, the public-facing documents of our website are the most used and the most looked at, and we try to make sure that they're accessible and they can be navigated easily. But we do have a program called Site Improve that we use, and with that we can find out if there's broken links, if there is language that maybe isn't up to an accessible standard, things like that. And what we did is we ran that, and Site Improve also looks at our documents that are PDFs, that are our attachments, not just our front-facing documents, but our attachments. And we ran a report, and in May we found that there was 434 items on our website that were not accessible. And that means that our documents weren't accessible. So that could be like an agenda or a map or anything that, like Culture and Rec, if they put, you know, a flyer out, things like that, our media releases. So we found that they didn't pass the test. So what we did, we actually had 2 members. We enlisted 2 members to manage the project. And by August 2023, 357 documents were removed from the website or remediated. We still have 77 documents that are flagged for follow-up, and those just weren't in our realm of expertise to create an accessible document, so we're kind of looking at those as well. One thing that Council had approved in the 2024 budget was a new position of an accessibility specialist, and created to assist with document remediation and provide guidance to all our departments to ensure compliance. So to help with this, we are getting somebody new, hopefully by year end. The job description hasn't been prepared yet, and we don't really have, you know, we're not quite ready to start that, but by year end, we're hoping that that position will be filled, and then that will be somebody who will specialize specifically for our website and for all departments. So I think that was a great year. It was a great test that we worked on, and we found out through that testing that we did need somebody, a body, to actually help with this so that we can be compliant with the legislation. Programming, our programming with Culture and Rec is continually improving. They always try to have accessible features for everybody. This year, a specialized swim time was added to the rec program, geared towards individuals with disabilities and their family members who wanted to be involved with recreational swimming. And with employment, we always try to accommodate those who cannot come in personally to do a job interview. we break down any barrier that we can with those who are applying to the town of LaSalle or coming in for an interview. We did talk to each member, like each department, with regards to this report. And always with what I've noticed, being on the committee for all these years, is that there were many years that we were kind of teaching and training our departments with regards to accessibility and what we need to do, and now it's just second language. It's a language that our senior management team, our managers, our supervisors, our staff are speaking more and more about, that it's just become part of our daily routine and part of our language with everything that we do. So that's really nice to see over the years. One thing that's not in the report, something that Rosa and I are starting in our department, is that we're kind of creating a working group from each department. We're going to meet a couple times a year or 2 or 3 times a year just to see what the projects are that they're working on. Are they accessible? We want the communication in the whole of the town of LaSalle between the departments to be really talked about accessibility. So we're going to meet as a working group over the year of 2024 just to make sure that, or just to talk about the projects, to say, what about this, what about this, did we think about this for accessibility, so that we're all on the same page. So that's not on the report, but something that we just kind of established this year for 2024 that we want to do. That's kind of the basis of the report, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you for the report. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. The recommendation that the report of the Deputy Clerk dated January 4th, 2024, CS-2024-001, regarding the 2023 year-end accessibility status report be received. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Jason and Mr. Burns. Okay, thank you. E, is there any questions or statements from the members of the committee? No. Okay, seeing none. Our next meeting is going to be scheduled for Wednesday, March 20th, and please note that the time is at 3 p.m. and not 3:30. So the meeting on Wednesday, March 20th is at 3 p.m. And I believe that's it. So we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much for those of you who were able to make the meeting today.
Thank you.